Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing? It's Holly here for our Montessori Mondays live show. Today we have such a good topic. We're going to be talking about the 3 must-have items for your 0 to 12-month-old. So say hi to me if you're here live, and if you're watching on the replay, make sure to put #replay in there. I'm so excited to get to talk to you guys today about your 0 to 12-month-olds, because we all know that this, first year of life looks so much different than the toddler years. So it's so important to kind of talk about what the differences are. Let me see. Hello, hello, hello. I can see. Oh, Namila, hello. How are you? I can't see. Let's see. Oz, Australia. Hello. That's awesome. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Farrow. Hi, Shar. Thanks so much for joining, guys. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic today. And I know a lot of parents that are new to Montessori really wonder, like, what should I do? Where should I start? Right? And the answer is just get started, right? No matter what you choose to get started with, whether it's the principles or preparing your, main living space or making a self-help station, whatever it might be, for however old your child is, just get started, right? And another question that I always get is, when should I start? Well, the answer to that one is now, right? So no matter how old your child is, I have seen such incredible things happen, even when the child is, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they start Montessori later in life. They have such huge developmental, let's see. Oh, sorry. Hi. Progress. They have such developmental progress at this later ages in life. So when we're doing Montessori from the ages of 0 to 6, when they're in this absorbent mind, we're really programming this to continue on throughout their entire life. So when can you start? Now. And if you have a baby from 0 to 12 months, yes, you can do Montessori as well. Montessori really starts from birth, okay? And let's see. I'm going to quickly see here. We have a couple more. Hello, hello. How are you? Okay, so before I get started, I'd like to know who here is live with us today or watching on the replay. How old are your children? How old are your children? And do you have a baby that is 0 to 12 months old? Let me know in the comments so I know who's here with us and what the age range is for today. Nabila says, Holly, I cannot see you. Oh, no. Is that the case for anybody else? You might need to refresh the page. Let me quickly see if I can type that in there for Nabila. Nabila, can you refresh your page? Sorry, guys, I still haven't figured out how to type and talk at the same time. So, okay, good. We've got 11 months, 3 years, and 8 weeks. Awesome. 8 weeks. I just saw your post, your little sweet baby in her July 4th gear. That was awesome. Baby is due September. Congratulations. I can see you. Good. Oh, I think I might have tagged the wrong Nabila. 9 months. Okay. Let's see. Awesome. So we have some babies. 11-month-old. Yes. 15-month-old and a newborn on the way. Congratulations. I have a 2-year-old, 26-month-old, turning 8 months old this week. 3-year-old. Awesome. So we have a good range. In this group, it's basically any parents with children aged 0 birth to all the way up to, I think, about 5 years old. People are kind of dropping out of this group at that time. So I'm glad to see those of you with some babies are here today, because that's what we're going to be focusing on, that 0 to 12 month stage. So like I said earlier, if you were here, we're going to focus on those 3 must-have items for your baby's first year of life. So if you only have a budget for a few items that you're going to want to bring these 3 items into your home, you're going to get the most use out of them, and they're going to make your life easier by having them. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Nabila says, okay, Holly, thanks, can see you now. Okay, perfect. So let's get started. The first must-have item that you need to have, or that you should have, if you don't get these things, guys, it doesn't mean you're not going to be practicing Montessori. Let's just say that from the start. These are just these things that are going to make your life easier when you're practicing Montessori in your home. So the first Montessori a must-have item is the movement mat. Now, let me know in the comments if you guys have heard about this before. The movement mat can be used from the age of about 2 months old until the child is crawling, and it can be replaced when the child begins to walk. So this is a perfect material that's going to last almost 2 months until almost, depending on when your child starts walking. Some children start at 9 months, some start at 15 months. So you're going to have a lot of use out of this item. And the mat should be used when the child is alert and awake, especially, when you have younger children at that 2 month stage. If you're just getting started with one of these, you're going to be able to offer your child experiences to work while laying on the mat. So this at 2 months would be perhaps a mobile, right? One of the Montessori mobiles. And they're basically going to be surrounded by stimuli. So as they get older, you would include other things, perhaps a kickball, some grasping materials, all of that, but everything would be done on this movement mat. And you can place your child on their back so that they can look upward toward the mobiles, and they can also be placed on their stomachs to allow for certain body parts, such as their shoulders, to develop. So the purpose of the mat acts as a point of reference for the child, and this supports the development of their independence and motor development. So when a child is on their stomachs on the mat, they begin to use their hands to kind of push themselves up. And that's the beginning of crawling. That's that tummy time, right? So just as a reminder, it is very important to never put a child in that sitting position until they're ready. And a child really needs to be able to move themselves and acquire that self-confidence without any help. And this movement mat would be set up in your child's area for movement or area for work, which is usually in that main living space of your home. So as far as a movement mat goes, you can use a few different things. We used an IKEA mat. It's just a foldable mat, and we put a fitted sheet on it so that we could, if the baby spit up or something like that, we can remove that. One thing that I see with the movement mats is a lot of time people put this in the area for sleep, and Montessori really stresses not to put any toys or stimuli in the area for sleep, because you're teaching your child that this is where they sleep. It is a calm, relaxing space. You should not be working or playing in this space, right? And at 2 months old, a mobile is work. Focusing on a mobile is work and play. So you don't want that in that area for sleep, and that's why I'm suggesting you put it in your area for movement. Okay, so in the Montessori by age 0 to 12 month workshop, we talk about all the different items that you might need in an area for movement throughout each stage of your child's life. And I'll talk about this a little bit more as we get through these next 2 must-have items. But let me know, what do you think? Can you provide a movement mat for your child? Or do you already have a movement mat for your child? Also, let me know if you have any questions about movement mats in general. Shar, any particular movement mat you recommend? My mother-in-law made me a sensory mat with my first. Does that count as a movement mat? Nabila has heard of it. Yes. Okay. And a movement mat. Sorry. So yes. As far as what I would suggest, I've seen several different things. You could even use a crib mattress on the floor. I mean, there's so many different ways you can think about this, but for me, the reason I picked the IKEA, it's almost like a gymnastics mat. I'm not sure what the exact term is for it with IKEA, but I know they have them at Kmart as well in Australia if you're looking for a cheaper option. But for me, the reason I chose that particular mat was because it was a little bit more firm. it was still soft enough to lay, you know, my 2-month-old baby's head on, but it was a little bit more firm than, say, a mattress for that, you know, push-up time, as well as it was, you know, that much off the ground. So when she did start rolling, or I have a she and a he, I suppose, when they started rolling, I wasn't worried that they'd be, you know, dropping at any level. And I know I've seen a few, you can even just use a rug, right? You can use, they have those really soft, soft rugs. And if you've got a small enough one, it would be enough to, you know, leave your child there comfortably on this soft fabric, but they would still be able to use the floor as a harder thing to start pushing up. Hopefully that makes sense for you, Shar. Okay, I already have a movement mat. Awesome. Her movement area is the Love Avery play mat. I always say Love Avery and Love Every. Anyways, yes, we had that play mat as well. That was such a cool thing. But I feel like with the Love Every play mat, it was very busy, right? There's a lot going on. And I feel like the difference between something like that and the movement mat is that the movement mat, you can take materials away, right? You can make it less busy. So then it can also just be a place for your child to look at some plants in your home, or, you know, concentrate on connecting with you as a parent or a sibling. So it doesn't have to be a play mat where things are always going. One thing you could do if you have something like the Love Every play mat is you could take off the mobiles every once in a while, take off the top bit, and then it would just be basically, you know, a blanket or a rug on the floor where they are used to going for this work and play time. So you can make it less busy if you find that your child is getting overwhelmed by laying in this place or sitting in this spot. Okay. Let's see. I have a large foam spill-proof mat from an Aussie company. Yes, perfect. Will grow with our kids too. Easy to pick up and tip blocks back into container or whatever they are. Okay, cool. So let's get on to our second must-have item. Now, the second must-have item is a mirror. And I saw on my post I made earlier, a few of you guessed mirror because it is such a great material, especially at this age of 0 to 3 years, because your child is learning that body scheme, right? And especially between 0 to 12 months, you get to, you know, move it along with your child. So this mirror should be set up in your child's area for movement, just like the movement mat. And it can actually go alongside the movement mat because the mirror is work or play. Looking at themselves in the mirror is work for them at this moment. So again, you wouldn't want it in the area for sleep. Now, it should be perfectly attached to the wall, of course, for safety, and it needs to be about the same size as your movement mat. So you wouldn't want something that's really a lot bigger than your movement mat, or, you know, a lot smaller. One of the things that I've seen people use is those long mirrors, which is great if you have a long movement mat. But let's say you have something like the Love Every play mat, and it's that particular one is a circle one. You could just get those sticky block tiles that are mirror. I guess they're not block. Square tiles that are mirror, and then you just only need like 2 or 3 of those. That's a good option. Either way, you just want to make sure that you're not you're trying to keep it at the same size as your movement mat in the same kind of area. So the mirror should be used so that the child can see themselves and repeat the movements that they see. So it helps with supporting that tummy time. When they are starting to do the pushing up, they can see it in the mirror, and then they try to replicate what they see. So the main purpose of the mirror is to help a child's mind learn about their body, and it helps the child's brain form a vision of themselves and how their body acts, right? So this will affect the child's movements. Now, it can be introduced at a young age, around the same time as the movement mat, and this will allow for the child to know that their own self and this will allow the child to know their own self, and as well as help with that human tendency for order as it aids in mental organization. So now, like I said before, you can find out more about the area for movement in the Montessori by age 0 to 12 month workshop, but there are so many other areas of your home. For instance, the area for sleep that I've mentioned a few times, and the area for physical care, and the area for feeding. These are all places that you can also kind of think about what materials would be good for those specific places of your home. And in the Montessori 0 to 12 month stage, this is going to look so much different than the Montessori 12 to 36 month stage, right? So you can imagine, you know, your child needs different things from the time they're 3 months old to 3 years old, right? And specifically, I know I've said this before, but Montessori, we like to split it up in between birth to 5 months, 5 to 12 months, and 12 to 36 months. So you can tell there's so much changing just in that first 12 months of life that it needs 2 stages on its own. So there is a lot to kind of think about as a parent. And I'm going to let you know a little bit more about this workshop as we go, but first let me know in the comments, do you already have a mirror available for your baby? Have you seen them use it in the past? Have you seen them kind of like look in the mirror if they're doing tummy time or just looking at their body? Are they curious about what they see in the mirror? And if you don't have a mirror, but you want to get one, do you know where you'll hang it? Do you have a spot set up in your area for work or your main living space that it might be a good place to add one? Let's see what we have here. Will grow with our, oh, thank you. Yep, I think you're commenting on somebody else's. When I see the comments, it just comes down in a straight line. I can't tell if you're commenting on somebody else's post or not. Sorry about that. Yeah, so let me know if you have any questions about that. I'm going to go ahead and get to number 3 of our must-have items for our Montessori 0 to 12 month babies. And this is the low shelf, right? Now, if you have been a part of Montessori for any amount of time, you have probably already come across this. What you might not know is that you introduce this low shelf to your child around the same time as the movement mat. This is going to be part of that stimuli that is around their movement mat. And as your child gets better at rolling or moving and crawling, they're going to be ready to discover what's on that shelf. So the purpose of this low shelf is to support a child's sense of order and independence in this area for movement or work. And at this pre-walking stage, you'll want a shelf that can sit on the floor because your child's eye level is quite low. And some people like to use, you could easily use one of those 3 cubes and just lay it horizontally, or even a shoe rack works well. That's what we ended up using because it has that low bottom shelf. Whatever shelf you use, it should have a back so the child can put the material on the shelf from the front. And the materials should be placed on the shelf in order of sequence of difficulty. So as your child gets closer to that 12-month stage, you'll want to make sure, especially when they can start taking the materials off the shelf themselves, you'll want to make sure you're putting the order of the materials in order of difficulty. So perhaps you have a puzzle, a one-piece puzzle, hopefully, before the 12-month stage. And that might be your last, you know, if from left to right, that might be your right side of things because they're a bit more difficult. Whereas something like some sensory balls or something like that is not difficult to work with, so you would put that on the left side. Hopefully that makes sense for you. And one easy way to remember how many materials you should have out between the ages of 0 to 12 months is by putting out the number of materials that correlate with their age in months. So, for instance, a 7-month-old could have 7 materials out. Now, this is a very, very loose guide because we're always trying to follow our child's lead above all else. And if we can see that our child is overwhelmed with 7 materials, then we need to observe that and take 1 or 2 of those materials off the shelf until we can see that they're comfortable again. And I also need to note that this guide should only be used until 12 months of age because we recommend 6 to 12 materials out at one time from 12 to 36 months. So you definitely don't want to, you know, at 36 months, you don't want 36 materials out. So between the 0 to 12 month age, it's a really good kind of way to help you continue to add more things into your child's shelf. Okay. And yes, when it comes to materials or toys, there are countless options, right? I mean, I have a few here, but there are just so many options, even in the Montessori world. But these should be your must-have 3 items, right? The movement mat, the mirror, and the low shelf. If you can't get anything else, these are the things that I would suggest you putting into the area for work. So now you're probably asking, what are those other materials, right? What do I put on my shelf, and what do I offer my baby on the movement mat? And those are good questions, right? How do I know how to follow my child's lead? Or maybe you just, you know, you're ready to start really successfully bringing Montessori into your home with your baby. If you are, then please join me for our Montessori by Age 0 to 12 month workshop. I invite you to join us to this upcoming workshop. We'll be covering everything you need to know to get your home set up in Montessori style so that you can get your home prepared and be that Montessori parent you've been thinking about, right? And really just learn something new and start, right? Right in the beginning of this live show, I said that the one thing that you can do is just get started. It doesn't matter which thing that is for you or where you're at in your path or however old your child is, just get started. And in this workshop that I'm talking about, we'll specifically be talking about setting up your home for Montessori success. So you can start seeing the Montessori benefits, such as an independent and confident child. We'll also be finding those activities and materials to put on the shelf that we were talking about. And we'll do this by working through the Montessori sensitive periods, right? Our children go through these sensitive periods throughout their life. And there are sensitive periods in the 0 to 12 month stage that you need to know about in order to think about what materials they might like on that shelf. So this workshop will be live on July 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you are just getting started with Montessori and you have a 0 to 12 month old, or you are going to have a baby soon, then I highly encourage you to join us for this workshop. I'm going to add the link in the comments now. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. And I'm going to answer all of them now while I'm live, and I'm also going to come back in and answer them for anybody watching on the replay as well. I've gone ahead and added the link for the workshop for you guys if anyone is interested. And let's see, awesome top 3. Do you have any other top materials you would recommend? Say if your list was a top 5 or top 6. That is a good question. So like I said, in the Montessori by Age workshop, these are the exact things we talk about. We go through activities, we go through materials. So the activities are more like games you can play, or things you would set up to do with your child, where the materials would be more like one-piece puzzles, or the ring stack, or a horizontal dowel, things like that. And then we also go through practical life, which changes a lot in that 0 to 12 month stage. It's not really till they're closer to 12 months till they start doing some of that practical life. But those, all of those, this workshop comes with a workbook that comes with a list with links to Amazon with all the materials that I talk about. As far as what would be 1 or 2 more things, I do recommend in the area for movement, if you have something like a pull-up bar or ottomans available, your child is really starting to learn how to pull up. And this is the time when you can start to move that mirror. So if you have a pull-up bar, you can add that and then put the mirror above it. So now they have a reason to pull up and start looking at themselves in the mirror. Or if you want, you could put the pull-up bar or an ottoman as well. This is something they can use to cruise along and pull themselves up. If you have a low window in your home, I'm always jealous of people that have low windows in their homes, because it gives a child at this age a chance to see out and observe nature and see what's going on. And so I highly suggest putting anything there for your child to kind of be able to pull themselves up and look at. If you don't have that nice low window, then a mirror would be a great idea. Yeah, so I would think, I know I have a couple activity lists out there. I'll have to see if I can, the activity list that comes with the workshop is perfect because it comes with the exact age appropriate times to try to introduce these things to your child. So I'm not sure how old your child is, but if you had, say, a 5-month-old and they kind of progress past those Montessori mobiles and you can start introducing new things to them. One thing as far as materials for the shelf go that can kind of grow with your child, all the way up past 36 months is something called a treasure basket or discovery basket. You can put different things in there for your child to kind of, at that age, 5 months old, they'll probably just be mouthing it. So what you put in there will probably be more sensory. So maybe it's a wooden spoon or a soft brush, whatever it is, it's more about a sensory thing. And as your child gets older, you can change, you can do themed things. Once they're 12 months up, you can do themed discovery or nature baskets and things like that. I think those are always really good for especially the 5 to 12 month age, because you can just constantly be changing. It can be a nature basket, it can be kitchen basket, or self-care. All of those things really are just allowing your child to feel the materials and use them how they like at that kind of 5-6 month age. All right, let me know if you guys have any more questions. And remember, if you're on the replay, I will come back and answer your questions for you. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about the Montessori at home with the 0 to 12-month-old, check out the workshop link in the comments. And Nabila is saying, we can use a mystery bag with those items. Yes, a mystery bag is great. I don't think technically it would be a 0 to 12-month material, but that is really great for 12 to 36-month mystery bags. Yes, we love those at our home as well, especially the ones that come with the blindfolds. Those are really, really fun. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to let you guys go. I look forward to seeing you next Monday for our Montessori Mondays live show. See you later. Bye-bye.